Hello, students. Well, wasn't that a surprising ending? That is Irony 101. You would expect a sniper to be killing his enemy and not his family. But now we're moving on to summarizing a story. And there are many ways to summarize a story. We're going to focus on the 6 W's. The who, what, where, when, how, and I know how does not begin with a W, but there's a W in it, so it's perfectly fine, and why. So as we are reading and or reflecting upon a story, let's keep in mind the basic who, what, where, when, how, and why aspects of the story. First, we want to make sure that we understand the type of conflict, and there were many options actually for the type of conflict. Character versus character, the sniper versus his brother, whom he didn't know at the time, or character versus society. It could have been one religion pitted against another religion, or it could have been character versus self. The IRA sniper was having some internal struggles with killing the Free State sniper, unbeknownst to him that it was in fact his brother. Moving on to summarizing a story, we have a chart here of the 6 W's. And of course, we have hyperlinks, which are also incorporated. So take advantage of those hyperlinks, like the type of character. Is it main versus subordinate? Or is it antagonist versus protagonist? You decide. You be the judge. And when we summarize stories, we want to make sure that we're not incorporating every single teeny tiny detail of the story. Like the sniper woke up in the morning, the sniper was hungry, the sniper felt emboldened to help his cause. That's not what we want when we summarize a story. We want the basic and the most important pieces of information. So here's a tactic. We want no more than 5 words to characterize the who of a story. And it's also important to note there's no need for complete sentences here because we're just trying to capture the essence of the who, what, where, when, why, and how of the story. So if we take a look at the who, one way to reflect upon the who of the story is the IRA conflicted, meaning he was struggling with himself. Sniper kills brother. 5 words that basically encompasses what the who is in the story. The what, the conflict of a story, which is a big what. If we don't have conflict in a story, we really don't have much of a story. And just as a reminder, the 6 types of conflict: person versus person or character versus character, versus society, versus nature, versus technology, versus self, or versus supernatural. Again, take advantage of those hyperlinks. So again, in 5 words or less, we need to explain what the what is of the story or the conflict of the story is. What we came up with was opposing snipers shooting each other. That's basically a character versus character conflict. The where. Where does the story take place? Where? Dublin, Ireland, the Four Courts. In other words, the capital of Ireland. You may remember in our classroom discussion that the Four Courts in Ireland was equivalent to the White House in the United States. And then the when of the story. When does the story take place? The 1920s Irish Civil War beginning, the beginning of the North versus South Irish Civil War. Now, the whys and the hows are a bit more complicated. It requires a little more sophisticated thinking, a little more critical thinking. Why can't the character resolve the conflict? Well, the conflict is the main character is being shot at by the enemy sniper. And one reason why the main character cannot resolve the conflict is because both snipers are equally skilled. They keep shooting at each other, but the IRA sniper eventually devises a plan which leads into the how does the character solve the problem? Well, the IRA sniper shot the FS sniper, but it was because he hatched this sophisticated ruse. So once we have the who, what, when, where, how, and why established, it's now your responsibility as students to come up with 3 well thought out, sophisticated, non-simple sentences which go into detail on these aspects that you have captured in this grid. So what you're focusing on are compound sentences and complex sentences. We haven't covered compound complex sentences yet, but if you want to get creative, by all means, compound complex sentences.